Arizona's Pinacate Desert is a harsh and brutal place, especially if you're a rock pocket mouse.
They're the Snickers bar of the desert. They really are. They're eaten by everything. They're probably eaten by foxes and coyotes and rattlesnakes, owls.
Weighing just half an ounce, this mouse could never fight off these large predators. Its best hope for survival is camouflage. Not surprisingly, its fur matches the color of the Pinacate rocks. But in some sections of the desert, the environment is different. Ancient volcanoes erupted, and now the desert is a patchwork of dark lava and light rock. But of course, a light mouse on a dark rock is easy pickings. So something has happened that Darwin might have predicted. The mice now living on the dark rocks have evolved darker fur. Those that stayed on the light rocks remain light. Michael Nachman was fascinated. How had this happened? To find out, he first needed to catch some mice. So with Sean Carroll, he visits a line of traps he set the previous night.
All of the dark ones have a white underbelly, and presumably there's no selection for dark on the belly because predators are coming from above.
This much Darwin could have done. Find some mice and compare the color of their fur to their environment. But Nachman can now do something that Darwin never could. He can look inside the animal's DNA. The study of DNA is one of the great triumphs of modern science. It has taken our understanding of how creatures evolve and develop to a level that Darwin could never have dreamed of.
The DNA molecule is one of the real secrets of life. It's a perfect system for storing the vast amounts of information that's necessary for building all kinds of creatures.
DNA consists of one long molecule, spiraling around in a double helix. That helix is in turn made up of 4 smaller molecules, called by the letters G, A, T, and C. DNA can be found in the cells of every living thing on Earth.
The thing about DNA that I think is remarkable is that the molecule itself is so elegant. With a small number of letters, you can say almost infinite words.
And that is the key. DNA is a code, and its double strand contains all the information to make living things grow and develop. Lined along each DNA molecule are arranged special sequences of this code that form our genes. Many genes get translated into proteins. And these proteins make the stuff of our bodies. One protein makes hair. Another makes cartilage. Others make muscle.
What makes DNA so amazing is that it just contains 4 letters. But all sorts of combinations of those 4 letters contains all the information for making all the creatures that are on the planet.
It's a gene that determines whether our eyes are blue or not. Another gives us freckles. Another gives us dimples. But DNA has one other vital quality. It doesn't stay the same. When a baby is conceived, the fertilized egg receives half its DNA from the mother and half from the father, creating wholly new combinations. It's why we look a bit like our parents, but also different. Another way that DNA can change is mutation.
Mutation is a critical ingredient in the recipe for evolution. Without mutation, everything would stay constant, generation after generation. Mutation generates variation, differences between individuals.
Mutations can happen as our DNA copies itself when our cells divide and our bodies develop. An A, for instance, can be replaced by a G, or a C by a T. This can cause minute changes that no one is even aware of. But when mutations occur in the cells we pass down to our children, they can cause big changes. Like turning a light-colored mouse dark.
Mutation seems to mean that something bad has happened. Well, mutations are neither good or bad. Whether they are favored or whether they are rejected or whether they're just neutral depends upon the conditions an organism finds itself. So for the pocket mouse, a mutation that caused the mouse to turn black, that is good if you're living on black rock. It's bad if you're living out in the sandy desert.
It was that mutation, the one that turned a light-colored mouse dark, that Michael Nachman was hunting for. Back in the lab, he began the painstaking business of comparing the genes of the two types of mice, trying to pinpoint any differences.
Science is fun when you really don't know what you're going to find.
One by one, the genes in the two mice proved identical. But then, in one gene, he found something. There were 4 places where the sequence of A's, T's, C's, and G's were different. When a mouse is born with these mutations, its fur grows dark. And that means it can survive on the dark rocks when others would not. Here was a clear example of evolution and natural selection at work.
I think Darwin would have been delighted to know that we can find the genes that are responsible for evolutionary change.
And this was just one of many links that have been found between genetic mutations and evolution. Scientists can now pinpoint a range of examples of evolution in action. The colobus monkey can see in color because of a mutation in one gene. It can now tell nutritious red leaves from tough old green ones. A genetic glitch gave this Antarctic fish a potent antifreeze in its blood, so it can survive in the icy waters when others cannot. So powerful was this link between genetic mutation and evolution that an idea took hold. To understand how evolution works, all you need to do is compare creatures' genes.